Hi, welcome back to my live. Okay, so for those of you who are joining me, just to let you know, if you have to leave or if somehow you can't see the whole live, it will be playing on YouTube. So just in case you miss it, and if you are going to join later on, something like that, it will be playing on YouTube if you miss anything. So anyway, I want to talk about the 7 times that I find most common where people need a personal stylist or they need to change up their personal style a little bit. So the very first common one is when people are entering into the workforce, when they are shifting from post-college going to their first job and then adapting to your wardrobe into the wardrobe appropriate attire for the company culture. And every company, I can say without a doubt, and I think I've been in a couple of other industries throughout my career, and I know that there are times, without a doubt, that there is like a dress code with every company, and I'm sure that most of you who are working know that there is like an unspoken dress code. And I think that that's the thing that like a lot of people who are entering into the workforce have to either update their wardrobe based on post college, and then go into the workforce. That's the very first time where people have to update their wardrobe. And sometimes there are people who will hire a stylist or they work with a stylist for changing and updating the wardrobe. So that's one. And then the second incident is the time where you have a career change. Let's just say that you either switch jobs, switch industries, or you have a promotion. Those are the 3 very common points of entry where people update their wardrobe, on career shifts. That's a very common time where people update their wardrobe. It's to reflect either the new company culture that you have gone into another job, so it might be the dress code might be a little bit different, so you might have to adapt to updating wardrobe. And then the second is if you are getting a promotion, right? So you kind of dress to fit, the role of your position, right? And then if you're switching to an entirely different industry, so the dress code for the company culture, it could be completely different, than the industry that you have been in before. So those are the 3 common points where you have a career shift, where you will update your wardrobe. And some people do hire stylists for this kind of change. So that's the second time where people update their wardrobe. And updating your wardrobe and keeping your personal style, it has to kind of be cohesive. It can't be where you are updating your wardrobe completely. No one does that. It's kind of like figuring how to utilize what you have in your closet, but also adapting to either your new role, your new industry, or your new position. So that's the second. And then the third most common time where people update their wardrobe is either through a post-breakup or post-divorce. Sometimes your lifestyle might be completely changed, or sometimes you just need like a change, in just your life. So you want to update your wardrobe to reflect like a new you, or just keep things fresh, So that's the third time where people update the wardrobe. It's very common, and some people do work with a personal stylist for this. And so the fourth time where people update their wardrobe is post baby. You know, just your lifestyle is completely different when you have a child. It's also your home life, and you need like versatility of your clothes, because taking care of a baby is very, very taxing, I would say. So I would say that, and you need something that's like stylish, functional, and also easy to transition in. You know, because if any of you are mothers and new mothers, you know that it's a very hard change in lifestyle, and with the baby sometimes barfing and stuff like that, you also need like clothes that are easy to care also. And so that's why I say like you need something that's versatile for home and work life. So that's the fourth time where people update their wardrobe and work with a personal stylist. The fifth time where people need a personal stylist is when they have a special occasion to attend to, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a work event, whether it's a social event. There are just times where you just need someone to help you find that outfit for that special occasion. So that's the fifth time where people update the work with a personal stylist to find that outfit that is appropriate, and also like sometimes like stylists will have access to brands, or they have a knowledge of the brands that will kind of fit into that special occasion. Because any good personal stylist, I would say they kind of know the brands, that they know, an assortment of brands that have different looks and stuff like that. So that's the time when you work with a personal stylist to find that like outfit. And that this is the most common use of a personal stylist is special occasions. It's very, very, very common. And the sixth time where people work with a personal stylist is when they go into retirement. So that's like when they are shifting their lifestyle to reflect their new lifestyle. Sometimes like a lot of people who are retired, they don't necessarily need like work appropriate clothes and things like that. So that's another time where people update the wardrobe to reflect their new lifestyle. It's not that uncommon. And then the seventh time where people work with a personal stylist is when you have a shift in changing your body, whether you lost a lot of weight or you gain a lot of weight. So your body is just different, and you need to dress for your new body. And that's the time where people work with a personal stylist. So these are the seven most common times when people work with a personal stylist. That being said, like if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the comments. So today I'm just talking about times where people work with personal stylists and why they work with a personal stylist. And in case if you're joining just now and you miss any part of this, it will be playing on YouTube after the live is done. So let me know if you have any questions about personal style, fashion, or anything, so I can answer. So again, I talked about today the times where people need personal stylists and why they need to work with personal stylists. It's the seven most common times, based on my experience, where people need to work with a personal stylist. Okay. Trying to see. Cascading delirium. Okay. How do you develop personal style after those 7 events? Um, so usually, like if you work with a personal stylist, after the session, a personal stylist will kind of give you like key points, to kind of like a general guideline to keep up, with what um, you have gone through in the session. So this way you can update so you can keep up with, your personal style. I think like developing personal style, I think I've done multiple videos here on TikTok, but I've also done 2 extensive videos on my YouTube channel about personal style and finding a personal style. So you can check that out. I go in full depth about what is personal style and how to find your personal style. And then the other thing that I did just this week is I've gone to a very, very extensive video about how to find your personal colors. So you could check that out. It's basically explaining everything. I've oversimplified everything, so it's very easy to understand about how to find your undertone, because I think like I get a lot of questions about how to find your undertone and what it is. And then I also gave you like a guideline to reference, and I'm gonna create a downloadable thing where you can kind of use to assess your undertone. So you could go check out that YouTube video that I just put out this week. Anything regarding your skin undertone, and I talked about the 4 skin undertones. There are 4 skin undertones, and I broke it down to if you have a fair complexion or a darker complexion. I broke it down to that, so it's very easy to understand, because I think like a lot of what I see out there is just very kind of one-dimensional, and sometimes I feel like people have information, but they're not making it very clear, and I understand they don't make it clear because they want you to buy the service. But I think that if anyone is good, they will share it so you can know it, and then you can develop and utilize it, right? So if you trust me, right, to give information, and I'm giving the information for free, then if you do need help, like service I provide, with my personal style, it's just beyond that. So that's why I feel like a lot of times, I see in personal style, I think like a lot of people either like, one, they don't understand, or 2, if they do understand, they kind of gatekeep it to the point where you have to buy this service, and they make it very confusing, where they give you, but they give you in such a way that is confusing. So that's why I try to make it very, very simple to understand. Like the way I do with the kibi and the silhouettes, I try to make it very, very easy to understand. And if you do having anything beyond that you don't understand, then that's when I think that it's my services will be helpful. But again, I try to make it very clear so you can utilize it, and not like I'm not really trying to sell you something that isn't necessary. So I try to oversimplify things. But again, with the colors, I make it very, very simple, because I think a lot of people don't understand color theory, number 1. I think that to understand color theory, you also have to kind of come from some kind of design background, or have a really clear understanding and study it. And I think a lot of people don't know that there is a color theory, to things and stuff like that. Anyway, so what is my favorite shop in Soho? I haven't been to Soho for a little while, so I don't really, I can't really say. But if in terms of like where I do have favorite shops, but it's not because of clothing necessarily. Like I love the Prada store. I just think like the design of it, aesthetic of it. I like hanging around the Prada store in Soho a lot. Um, it's just that the layout's good, and also the clothes. It's also good. So yeah, I like Prada. The Prada store. Um, there used to be a store on Soho on West Broadway called Ad, which sells accessories, but they have shut down like I think over 10 years or something like that. I used to love that store. Eileen Fisher, I used to go to a lot. Again, I haven't been to Soho in a little while, so I don't know what the new stores are. But I think like um, there's a lot of more designer stores. Like I think YSL is there. I think I'm not sure if Chanel's there. I think Fendi's there. There's a lot more luxury designer stores in Soho than there used to be. And I think the stores I used to go to in Soho, some of them have shut down since COVID. Some of them have shut down due to just poor economical situation with retail, brick and mortar retail stores. Back in like in the last 10 years, a lot of stores have shut down that I used to go to. So I can tell you that the store I used to go as a kid that no longer exists is Canal Jeans. If any of you who are here who have been around in the 80s and 90s, you kind of know what Canal Jeans is. But I think like after, you don't know what it is. It used to be a multi-level floor store, but I think right now it's where Bloomingdale's is. And I can say that I don't like the Bloomingdale's down Soho. I like the Bloomingdale's up in Lexington a lot better, just the setup. But I think that also since COVID, Bloomingdale's isn't as good as it used to. So in terms of department stores, I like going to Bergdorf Goodman and even Saks more than I do Bloomingdale's. So anyway, let me see if you have any other question. So Kearney, okay, then the comment is too many people buy clothes on impulse without considering what it looks like. What's look? Yes, that is my biggest issue. Because I don't know if it's just the fact that I, have gone through the whole process of going to fashion school and I've been in the industry for so long. And I've done a lot of fitting on live fit models. So my eyes are just trained to spot like things are wrong. So a lot of times when I am like out in the streets, like it's not like I do it intentionally, but it's just like it's a muscle memory kind of thing where I impulse like just look at people's outfits and can see what's wrong. And if they only did this or they did that, they would look so much better. But again, like it's just my experience and my training and how my eyes work, and based on like how I am trained in fashion and my experience in fashion. So I could spot things a lot more quicker than other people. And I know, I don't know, like I see body proportions, pretty much, on everyone. And I also can kind of see people's undertone a lot easier than others, and I can also see like what works proportionally for someone, and sometimes like I can see the aesthetic of the person just by the outfit, and how they do the hair, how they style themselves, and how they style their clothes. I can kind of see, so that's like I think it's like a occupational hazard of just being in fashion where, and I'm sure like a lot of people who have the same experience that I have, they kind of see the same thing I see. If you work in fashion, I would say it's like for a decade or so, like you kind of train your eyes to see things that other people don't see. Yeah, and I think like it's just a occupational hazard. It's like a muscle memory. You see things, and especially if you work in design and product development and you have gone through like the fitting process of clothing. And the other thing is a lot of um, a lot of times that people don't understand is brands spend so much money, on fitting clothes, perfecting the fit, perfecting the proportions, perfecting it on a body type, and sometimes like they'll um, they'll fit it on the live model, and I've done this early on my career in the first job that I had for a runway fashion brand. So what we do is we have a fit model, and I don't necessarily like the fit model because she was 22 at the time, and I thought that she was kind of undeveloped, just based on body proportions. Like she had the body proportions of a runway model. I'm not necessarily how average women look like, like we have rolls, we have busts, we have arm fat and all this stuff, and she didn't have. And sometimes, like during the course of the fitting, I have to do the fitting, and it doesn't necessarily work. So sometimes when I go through the fitting and the final process, I would throw into multiple people in the office where I see the fit on multiple body types, so this way I can perfect the fit, so it's not just fitting this, fit model, but it's fitting like multiple size 4s, multiple size 8s, because usually before we go into production, I do a size from, so our fit model is a size 4. And then what I do is I always grade it up to a size 8 and then put it up to multiple people in the office who are a size 8. And then I will do the final adjustments, and then we go to production based on that pattern. So that's the way I set up things. And I think that because I have gone through, because early in my career I've interned for this brand, and the people who work for this brand, like they were actually 3 very good mentors in that company. So one was the pattern maker, one was the production manager, and the other person was in like the technical designer. So that's how like I gained my experience, because these three people taught me so much of what I know even today, and like what I am always mindful of, when I look at clothes. So yeah. Let me see. So how do you know if you are dimensional or in terms of body shape? Maybe you. So I put it out on the. So it's so if you talk about theatrical romantic, so one is based on your proportions, your height, and then the last thing is like there is like a shape to the theatrical romantic, and it's basically like the way I look at Kibi is more like the overall feel and aesthetic of your body shape and how it's associated with, So I think that's the 3 things you have to kind of consider is number 1 is the height, is the proportion, and also like the aesthetic of what the essence of your body shape is. I think that if you look at the YouTube video, I kind of make it very, very simple for you to understand. So if you have a specific thing that you want to know that's beyond the what I put out, then because I think the romantic, I would say, is a little softer. If you talk about like the essence of the romantic, is a little softer than the theatrical romantic. It's a little more like the edges are a little more sharper. It's a yin and yang kind of essence of the Kibi. So I don't know if that's clear to you, but if it's not clear, feel free to drop another comment, and I will do my best to answer. Again, if you are joining, if anything is unclear or you missed anything, I will put this out on YouTube so you catch this live. I am here every Friday from noon to 12 to answer your questions. And also in the beginning of the session, I will try to do my best to give you like a lesson, or something, so this way you can understand, because my goal is to really help you kind of develop personal style, and my end goal at the end of the day is to get people to have personal style so that you can shop less. Because again, one of my passions about fashion is that I really want people to be a lot more sustainable about their purchases and not overconsume fashion. Because the sad fact is that overconsumption of fashion is filling up landfills quicker than even, like, it's just mind-boggling to me sometimes. Like when I look at the stats, and I because I also have worked in production and fashion, so I understand the manufacturing process. And I think that this one part is that overconsumption, especially of fast fashion, is not only just leading to excess and landfill, but the second thing is it's also a lot of times on the backs of slave labor. So these are my two passions about fashion that I really want to address. And beyond personal style, if you follow me on TikTok, you know that I talk about being sustainable and shopping less and not consuming, and being outfit repeater and all this stuff, and like buying less fast fashion, especially when it's so dirt cheap. Like if you think about an article of clothing that's $12, you know that someone's not getting paid, and most likely it's the person who's sewing the clothes. So I am really passionate about this because I believe everyone has a right to earn a fair wage that they can live a good quality of life. It should not be should not be to such a point of overconsumption, that is detrimental not only to the environment but quality of life for people. This is where I stand, like on fashion, especially fast fashion. I understand, a lot of people want fashion to be democratized, and yes, there is fashion is for the most part democratized, but I think that the spin on how people are using it, I think it's kind of very there's a lot of falsehood in it, because I find that it's on the backs of slave labor when they talk about democratizing fashion and making it accessible. Making fashion accessible for $12 where people are not getting paid, and working in sweatshops and working these terrible conditions, in like it's modern day slavery. That's what fast fashion is doing. And I really want to talk about it and shine a light on it, because again, I think that everyone should get paid and everyone should have quality of life. It shouldn't be, just because you want to overconsume fashion that someone is going to suffer for it, because that there has been multiple, and it only makes it to the news where something when it's very tragic happens, like what happened like in the Rana garment sewing factory. So it's just like things like that, but a lot of it, it's like, because I've been in fashion for so long and I've seen it, where there are terrible factory conditions, and I also see the landfills and how much of, think about, I travel, extensively throughout my life, and I think that, for me it's tragic to realize that there are places that I've been to where, like, the places, there, how in New York City there's a running joke, about Staten Island, right? Being the like a place of like a dumpster for New York City, right? But I feel like there are a lot of beautiful places in the world that are being dumpsters for American consumerism or Western consumerism of fast fashion. So to me, it's just mind-boggling. Yeah. So anyway, I am going to wrap up. I need to go back to work. Thank you for joining me. And if you missed this live, again, it will play on YouTube, so you can catch it. And I will see you next week in the live. Thank you for joining me. Bye.